This episode is brought to you by the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. There are legends around here.
Who died in Meiji, fucking king of the zombies?
Even if only in their own minds. Forgotten, but not yet dead.
I want to play a game.
Some have tried to stop them, but they keep coming back.
Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Coming to entertain you. They are the Crystal Lake Soldiers.
Welcome back to the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast. My name is Isaiah, and I am joined today by Bailey. How you doing today, Bailey?
You know, man, I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to talk Halloween 3.
I am too. It's been a while since I've watched it. Halloween 3 it took a while for it to become a movie I actually liked, because obviously the main reasons why, with like no Michael Myers and stuff like that. But
right.
that was before I actually jumped in and actually started enjoying the movie, after finally seeing it instead of just bashing it beforehand. But we'll get into all that though here in a little bit. So if you're joining us, thank you for checking out this week's episode. We are in the middle of a series kind of going through each of the Halloween movies leading up to Halloween Kills, which is coming out in October. So we've covered already Halloween 1 and 2, obviously, seeing as we're on Halloween 3. And super excited for this series and to see where this goes and whatnot. And it's actually a milestone episode for us as well. This is our 100th episode for the Crystal Lake Soldiers. And with that, actually, there's been some changes with the show. So obviously, I'm here, and I'm joined by Bailey, who's actually going to be joining us, on a more regular basis here. And Bailey's actually a part of the Slash and Cast Podcast Network as well with his other show, We Came From Beneath the Sea, which is really great, and you guys should check that out as well. They've got a lot of good content with that show also. So I'm super excited to have Bailey on board. The other guys, Sean, Ted, and Mark, decided to step away from the show, and it's totally cool. I mean, I've been friends with these guys for years, and honestly, it's with the whole podcasting thing, it's understandable because a lot of times you get burnt out and you just don't really want to do it anymore. So it's totally understandable. It's totally cool. It was definitely no hard feelings or anything like that. So I'm super excited for where the show is going, and especially kind of at this milestone episode, with 100 episodes, because I never thought, when I originally thought of having this podcast, I never thought we were going to make it this far. So this is very, very exciting.
Yeah, congratulations, man. I'm glad you've made it this far.
Yes, and I appreciate that. And so with kind of this kind of shift and change with the show, obviously we're going to be continuing with the Halloween series and throughout this, because we've been a weekly podcast ever since the inception, so over 2 years now. So, But after the end of this Halloween series, we're going to be shifting and kind of going bi-weekly, just for those of you that are listening, just to kind of prepare you, just to make it so we can make more quality content, and just instead of just trying to get out a weekly episode every week. So it'll be good for me, just as kind of things have changed with me and the relationship I'm in with my girlfriend now, and kind of focusing a lot of time there. But I still want to be able to bring you guys some quality content, and I think we'll be able to do that by doing it bi-weekly. So that'll be coming after the Halloween series is done and over with. So we'll still have the weekly episodes going forward through the rest of the series, and then we'll be switching to bi-weekly episodes in November. So I'm super pumped for that. But before we get into talking about Halloween 3 and everything, what have you been up to lately, Bailey? I know we've been kind of, talking a little bit more recently. But yeah, what have you been up to?
Working a lot. I have recently, about 3 months ago, I started a temp service in the freight forwarding industry. And I actually just got the news today that I am being hired on podcasting, obviously, with my friends Zach and Brandon, my co-hosts of We Came From Beneath the Sea. And hopefully after the Halloween series is over and we start doing this bi-weekly, being more present over here. And I actually, with some of my other friends, we are going to be starting, I don't know if we're doing it bi-weekly or we're going to do it monthly, but we will be doing a like current news podcast where we just talk about things that are going on in the world and weigh in on them a little bit.
Very cool.
Yeah. Busy, busy, busy.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm right there with you because I know for myself, obviously I've had the whole girlfriend situation. So honestly, I'm spending most of my time with her,
right,
and whatnot. We've been doing a lot of camping and stuff, and just kind of getting outdoors.
Dude,
and
that's so fun.
Oh my god, it's been so.
I've seen
nice.
your lake pictures, man. They look great. I wish I was there.
I know, right? So because it's been kind of a very like 180 transition, from before, because especially with COVID and everything, I've been inside most of the time for the last year and a half, and so to have this opportunity and be able to spend my time with somebody I really care about and doing stuff I like to do besides podcasting and watching movies and stuff has been very much a blessing. So, getting out, spending time with my family too, and meeting her family, it's been a lot of fun. But on top of that, I mean, also still getting in my movie watching and stuff. And,
yeah, for sure.
And a little bit of gaming here and there. Not as much gaming as I'd like to, but honestly, I'm more happy just spending time doing stuff instead of just playing games in front of a TV all the time. So, but I've been kind of keeping up with some movies and whatnot. I obviously with the Halloween movies, watching those, getting ready for the episodes for this, but also what was it I just saw recently? Shit, I can't even remember. I've had so much stuff going on, I can't even remember what I've been watching.
I don't remember what the last movie I watched was. I think it was Death Proof for We Came From Beneath the Sea when I watched that.
Yeah, and I got to listen to your guys' episode on that because I love Death Proof.
Oh, it was a fun one, man, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out. What were your thoughts on Planet Terror as well?
So I want to cover, I think the next round that it's my turn to do standalone, which is what we're doing right now. We're going to do standalones probably for a couple months because I am just so burnt out on doing franchises.
Sure.
But I think I'm going to do Planet Terror next. So I have a really weird, hazy memory with those. So like I said in the episode, I remember seeing bits and pieces of Planet Terror. Like I know I've seen them, and I was a child when I saw them. I remember that, but I just do not remember these movies whatsoever. But Planet Terror, from what I remember, was just balls to the wall craziness. And, I like that stuff. So.
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched both of them, and I really do need to revisit them just because I do love them. But yeah, I remember at first I liked Planet Terror more than Death Proof, but over time I've just come to appreciate Death Proof so much more that it's my preferred movie of those two. So and plus it's Tarantino, so I mean
dude, I am a huge Tarantino fan, and I also say this in the episode, I'm a Tarantino fan as in like I'm not one of those film douche guys. I'm just like, yeah, Quentin Tarantino's my favorite director, bro.
Right.
Like, he's actually legitimately one of my favorite directors because of his background. He didn't go to film school. Also, with me going into pre-production for a short next summer. So I think that's some good inspiration for me.
Definitely. No, definitely. And yeah, Tarantino's so fucking good. I don't think there's one movie he's done that I haven't liked, or loved, rather. It's every single one of his movies I fucking enjoyed. I mean, the one that I would probably say of his that I wouldn't necessarily say I don't love, but it's just probably the least on my list would probably be Hateful Eight, just because I thought that dragged out a little bit. But at the same time, it's still fucking fantastic. Right. So
that's one of the only ones of his I haven't seen. I haven't seen the Hateful Eight, and I haven't seen Jackie Brown, but I've seen the other 7.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely love Tarantino's movies. Probably my favorite is probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, honestly.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, and honestly, the weird thing is with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I haven't bought the Blu-ray yet, even though I probably should have at this point, because I mean I buy so many fucking movies. So So that's definitely on my list of movies I need to buy still. But I've got a long list of those, so that could be a while before I actually get it. So it is what it is.
That's right. We get to it when we get to it.
Exactly. I'm in no rush. Anyways, though, are you ready to talk some Halloween 3?
I am ready, man. And before we do, so this movie actually, so I grew up watching the Halloween franchise. That's one of my mom's favorite franchises. She's the one that got me introduced into horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so we never ever watched it. I was 17.
Okay.
And I was under the impression, oh, it's so bad because Michael Myers isn't in it. And I watched it for the first time and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, well, Mom was wrong. Okay. This time Mom's wrong.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Can't always be right every time. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch.
You don't really know much about Halloween. Halloween, the barriers will be down between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red. Halloween, the children.
You happen to know anything about this Cochran?
All I can tell you, mister, is watch out. He's watching you, friend, I guarantee you that.
Trick or treat, trick or treat.
Hey, Mr. Cochran, just what is the final process?
Fellas, I was just kidding.
Witchcraft. To us, it was a way of controlling our environment.
Hey!
Where are they taking her?
They're taking her to the factory.
I want a mask. Can I have a mask?
Just what I had in mind for you, little buddy. Why, Cocker? Why? Do I need a reason?
I've got nothing here to indicate there was ever a body at all.
Operator, this is an emergency.
I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
You've got to believe me!
They're going to kill us. All of us.
Stop it!
The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. Happy Halloween.
Stop it!
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.
All right, so Halloween 3 was released on October 22nd, 1982, so just a year after Halloween 2. Mm-hmm. This was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, who was obviously involved with Halloween 1 as well. And so we talked in the last episode about how he originally was approached to direct and everything for Halloween 2, but ended up not doing it, obviously, because Rick Rosenthal directed Halloween 2. So he ended up getting his opportunity to do this one because it was kind of a new story, and so he jumped at the opportunity to do this because of that. So that was kind of cool to hear about, because he's very talented as a director, and definitely. And then you have a great cast for this movie because obviously you've got Tom Atkins, who's a fucking legend. I mean, you can't go wrong with the stash. Sure. You got Stacey Nelkin, who's kind of the love interest of Tom Atkins in this movie, and then you have Dan O'Harely, who's Colonel Cochran in this, and he's the big bad of the movie, and very, very established actor, and very well casted for this movie as the big evil dude in this. So with this movie, this only had a budget of $2.5 million. Mm-hmm. The problem is with this movie is it only grossed about $14 million, which is quite a bit less than Halloween and Halloween 2. Right. And almost half of that was grossed in the opening weekend in the U.S. So it really didn't make a whole lot of money. And obviously that had a lot to do with the fact that it didn't feature Michael Myers, was a totally different story. So I could see where it could be very confusing for a lot of people about why it's called Halloween 3, but doesn't have Michael Myers, which is kind of the big selling point of the franchise. obviously that's going to play a huge factor when this movie is initially released. So now just a little bit of kind of tidbits and trivia with regards to this movie. So the Silver Shamrock kind of jingle that they used in this, they used the music for London Bridge is Falling Down because it was in public domain, so they didn't have to pay anything to use that in order to make their jingle for this. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I actually didn't realize that it was done to the music of London Bridge is Falling Down. Did you know that at all?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it that much, does it?
No, it really doesn't. So that was a very smart choice on their part to kind of keep costs down with regards to, music rights and all that. So
yep.
The next thing is the voice operator that Chalice keeps getting when he tries to call out of Santa Mira is actually Jamie Lee Curtis. I didn't actually realize that because I didn't think she was actually a part of the movie at all. But just to know that she actually had a small part just doing voice work is kind of cool. Because obviously we have Nancy Loomis in the beginning, who's Chalice's ex-wife, who played Annie in the first and second movie. So it's kind of cool that, with the whole, when they were trying to do the whole anthology thing, they kind of had some people from the previous installments, involved with it in some fashion. So I thought that was kind of a cool touch. And the last thing is the one thing when Tom Atkins' character is in the factory and he throws that skull mask over the security camera. Tommy Lee Wallace actually talked about how it took them like 40 takes to get that done, and the reason why they ended up doing it was because when they were just kind of rehearsing before they were going to shoot, Tom Atkins actually just playfully tossed the mask and caught it on the camera on the first try. And so they decided to add that into the movie, but then it took 40 takes for him to be able to do it again on camera. So
yeah,
it's just funny how you can just nail something like that on a first try, but then not be able to do it again, and it take just a fuck ton of times to get it done. So I thought that was kind of funny. But so with Halloween 3, like we alluded to, is that this is kind of a departure from the Michael Myers story and goes away from Haddonfield and moves to Northern California is where this takes place. We start off with, a chase scene featuring, and I forget his name, Harry Grimbridge, who kind of in the story goes to pick up a shipment of these masks and ends up finding out their dirty secret of Silver Shamrock, and then he ends up getting chased down and ultimately killed in the beginning of the movie. So that's kind of how it starts out. The one thing I like with Halloween 3 is that the kind of atmosphere of the movie is very creepy, and they do a good job with the music, because the music is definitely way different than what they did in Halloween 1 and 2. And John Carpenter and Alan Howarth
but it's still good. It
is very good, because I kind of like the more droning sounding music for this, and it fits so well with the story, because obviously you got that kind of droning kind of music, and you're dealing with androids and robots and shit like that, so it kind of all fits together within the story with the music. So I do like that, how they differentiated with this movie to change the music and just kind of make it more moody and stuff like that too. And that's kind of some of the stuff that I really love more with this movie, is just kind of the atmosphere and the moodiness of it. And it starts off right away, especially with that first scene, So what are your kind of opening thoughts with regards to this movie?
Great opening scene. The chase, minus the title cards. I'm not a fan of the title cards because there's a 1 hour later title card.
Right.
But yeah, great opening scene. Really shows off Tommy Lee Wallace's directorial skills.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with there too. And the movie is shot very well as well, and that has a lot to do with obviously the director of photography, because I mean, same guy that did 1 and 2 did 3, so I mean the kind of look and everything. Dean Cudney's always done a really good job, I think, with all the movies that he's been a part of for doing cinematography and stuff like that. Just he is such an artist when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
it's so well done. And then just the direction, obviously, like you said, with Tommy Lee Wallace, it just all kind of works together to its benefit. And, you know, I can understand why so many people didn't want to see this movie or hate on this movie because of it not having Michael Myers. But if they just sat down and just forget for an hour and a half that it's called Halloween 3, just go off of Season of the Witch. If you just give it a fucking chance, it's a fucking decent horror movie, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's a different Halloween type of story. It's like, I understand, but at the same time, I don't understand. I mean, you're going off of because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it, and it's not set in Haddonfield, and doesn't have these, you know, cast of characters that you're used to. I mean, granted, it doesn't have that, but so what? I mean, it's a movie. I mean, and a lot of that's where, like, I can understand, but at the same time, for myself, you know, I'm very kind of easygoing when it comes to movies too. So maybe it's just because I'm so easygoing with it, I just don't understand really the hate for it. Because I mean, obviously at first I didn't want to see it because it didn't have Michael Myers in it, but when I just sat down and watched it, I fucking loved the movie, you know. But so, anyways, that's just my little spiel about that. So you know, obviously Harry gets attacked by these androids. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the 40-year-old movie, I mean, you should go watch it. Honestly,
go watch it right now.
Right. So he's got these assassins after him to, you know, keep him from getting, you know, this news out about what Silver Shamrock's actually doing, and kind of their whole plotting against basically humanity, and, you know, playing the trick on the children, as Colonel Cochran alludes to later on in the movie. You know, the ultimate trick.
The ultimate trick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he ends up getting attacked, but then he makes it to this gas station, you know, an hour later, like you'd said, and ends up getting help from the gas station attendant there, and takes him to the hospital and whatnot. But obviously the assassins are following the dude, so he ends up seeing who's taking him, and they follow him to the hospital, basically. End up fucking killing him as he's clutching one of these masks to his chest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Tom Atkins plays a doctor in the movie, which, you know, he has a lot of these, like, almost like a private eye kind of qualities about him, but he's a fucking doctor, you know, and he ends up trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this, why this guy showed up, why he ended up being killed in the hospital, why this other guy decided to burn himself to death in the car after killing the guy. You know, it's like a whole fucked up situation. And then he goes into fucking private eye mode and just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah, it's a decent premise, you know, for a movie. It's kind of like almost kind of like a mystery at the same time of being horror. It's got a good mix of different things in this movie, which
it's
I really
unique.
like.
At this point, I don't think there have been many outright horror movies that were like this. I mean, it's a whodunit, but like.
Right.
It's more than that.
Exactly. Because you got supernatural elements to it. You got basically sci-fi elements with the androids side of things. Plus you've got just straight horror elements, you know, especially with like those assassins, you know, basically being serial killers, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all kind of a lot of different things, and I'm here for it. I fucking love the movie. So it's all good to me. So, you know, after because we meet Chalice, and, you know, we see him in the hospital. We also see him interacting with his ex-wife, once again, who's Nancy Loomis from Halloween 1 and 2. And, you know, obviously their relationship is strained because he's not really been around for their kids and whatnot, and so she's pissed off about that. And then, you know, him being a doctor, he has a hard time with being around a lot, because if he's getting called into work fucking constantly, it's understandable why he's not around as much as he probably would like to.
Oh, yeah.
So we see that relationship, and then we see how he is in the hospital. And we get introduced to Harry's daughter, Ellie, who is wanting to figure out what's going on, why her dad's dead and everything. And then That's how they end up meeting up, and then they're gonna go find the Silver Shamrock Company because obviously he was clutching the mask to his chest when he was fucking killed. So they're going to find out why he was chased, why somebody killed him, why somebody burned themselves to death in a fucking car outside the hospital after killing the dude. So it's a lot. It's almost a lot to take in, but at the same time, it's not really. But the one thing I do like with this movie is that it does keep moving. It's like there isn't really a lot of dull moments within the movie. At least I don't think. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember one point where it's like dull and doesn't really move at a good pace. And honestly, it doesn't feel like it's an hour and a half long. When you're watching it.
The only thing I'd say is dull. It's not really dull. It's just not really needed. The amount of sex scenes in this movie.
That's very true. But at the same time, Tom Atkins is always about the ladies, getting the ladies. So
That's right.
So I can understand because that stash is irresistible.
Can't say no, man.
No, you can't. Fucking love it. But I can understand that because the sex scene kind of come out of nowhere, and they're not really needed, and you could have definitely cut those out, and it wouldn't have really affected anything with the story of everything. It's just, they were just kind of, it almost felt kind of extra, and they really could have just left without it. One thing that I do like, and honestly, it's probably my favorite kill in this whole movie, is when they're at the motel in Santa Mira. When that one lady who's there to pick up a shipment, and she drops the Silver Shamrock pin in the motel room, but then she sees that there's the microchip on the inside of it, and she starts fucking around with it. Number one, why would you fuck around with something like that, not knowing what the fuck it is, knowing that you're not some kind of like computer whiz or anything like that? But she's just sitting here picking and prodding at this fucking thing with the fucking piece of metal, her fucking hair clip, and the thing shoots her right in the fucking face, which is just looks phenomenal. Even though it's like 80s, like graphics and whatnot, and kind of looks a little cheesy, but at the same time, it looks still fucking cool even to this day. With that, but then you see the damage it does, and just leaves a fucking huge ass hole in the middle of her face.
Oh yeah.
And then you see the bugs and shit just start crawling out and all that. Like, I know the makeup effects aren't the best in this movie, but at the same time, it just still looks so cool, and it just still looks so fucking gnarly. What would you say is your favorite kill in this movie?
The end, actually, where he fights the android version of his love interest. He doesn't know it's an android until she attacks him.
Right.
But then, the big reveal is, about halfway through the movie, that kid puts the mask on and watches the commercial, and his head turns to bugs and snakes and stuff. And that's the whole plan. They want every kid to happen to the kids. And so he's calling the radio station, turn it off! That is my favorite part, is the very, very end.
It's such a dark ending, too.
It is, too.
I mean, it's so, like, bleak, because, I mean, you know that Cochrane's trying to fucking just kill just millions of people, because millions of people have bought in these masks, and they're wanting the huge big giveaway and everything that's happening at 9 p.m. And it's just so like, it's so dark, like very, very fucking dark. It's probably the darkest ending out of all the Halloween movies, honestly. And it fits so well, just kind of with kind of the moodiness of the movie too, which is why I think it's so effective, And I don't think they could have ended it any other way, honestly, because you don't know if that third channel ends up finally being cut off or not, because it just kind of cuts to black with him screaming. So you don't know if all these people fucking die. You don't know if they fucking live because they finally cut it off. You just don't know. Right. And that's what I love about it. It just kind of leaves that kind of mystery about it, which is, I think, fucking fantastic. I like how they kind of fit Stonehenge into the whole story too, about having, you know, the rock from there, and it's got these powers basically, and they're trying to harness these powers to, you know, kill all these people and all that. And the one problem I have with the movie is when Cochran finally comes and meets his end, because it looks just so bad. Like I can handle some like bad like effects and whatnot, but that just, number one, whatever they used, it did not look anything like him, you know, for when he got basically changed into basically stone or whatnot.
Yeah.
Before he was disintegrated and exploded. It just did not look anything like him, like at all, like not even a close resemblance. So I think they could have did better with that, but I like the concept of what they're trying to do there to eliminate him. I just don't think it was done the best with how they did it, but I mean, that's just one minor thing, you know. I did like the kind of nods to, you know, the original Halloween in there, how they had it like playing on the TV and whatnot. So they kind of played it off as that was a movie, you know, in this universe basically. And so I kind of like that they at least incorporated Michael Myers at least a little bit in the movie by doing it that way. Even though I really would have rather have had like a proper Halloween 3 with Michael Myers, obviously. I thought that at least it was a nice nod to know to show what came before, you know, with that.
Right.
Is there anything in particular that you think could have been done better with this movie?
Honestly, not much, considering it was made in the 80s. But for what they did do well, the effects of when they melted that kid's head, A, they had the balls to kill a kid.
Oh, yeah.
B, that effect just, oh, dude, how mushy it gets and just like it's empty all of a sudden.
Yep.
Oh, it looks so good.
I fucking love that. That was such a good kill. Honestly, that kill was pretty. That was definitely the second best kill in the movie, was when they killed the kid and his parents in that waiting room or watching room, testing room actually is what it was. But that was pretty good. Even when Harry gets killed in the beginning, getting that fucking bridge of your nose ripped up, just looked fucking gnarly. That was probably the best effect, like practical effect in the movie was that, and it just looked so gross and just looked so painful. So, that would have been, that would probably be categorized as probably the best effect. Not necessarily my favorite effect, obviously with the laser beam shooting in the woman's mouth was my favorite, but probably best done effect is what I would say with that one. So, one thing I liked in this too, because we talked about Jamie Lee Curtis being the voice on the phone, and Nancy Loomis being Chalice's wife. We also got Dick Warlock, who was like kind of the main assassin in this movie, who was Michael Myers in part 2.
Yep.
So they brought him back, which I thought was a great as well. So he played a kind of a henchman versus being the actual bad guy, like he was obviously being Michael Myers in part 2. So I thought that was nice that they brought him back as well. So, I mean, overall, like I said, yes, it doesn't have Michael Myers. Yes, it's not in Haddonfield. Yes, it doesn't have anything to do with that storyline. But if people just gave it a chance and just watched it, I think more people would actually like it than, you know, the people that just kind of write it off because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it, you know? I just don't think it gets enough love, you know, like the other ones, which I understand. Again, I understand because it's not in the continuity of Michael Myers and whatnot. So I get it. I do get it. I just think it deserves more love than what it actually gets. You know?
Yeah.
But so I mean, overall, very dark movie, very well put together. I think it was very well written as well. The directing was there, the cinematography was on point, the acting was very good, especially for an 80s horror movie. I don't think they could have had a better cast. I thought the cast was fucking phenomenal in this. Overall, very, very solid, very good horror movie for the early 80s. Is there any final kind of thoughts that you had on the movie?
Let's see. If you haven't seen this, but you've listened to the episode, I highly recommend you go watch it. Don't let anybody's opinions stray you if they have bad opinions about the movie. This is one you definitely need to opinionate yourself on, for sure.
Right.
And I love this movie a lot. I haven't seen it in a long while. I watched bits and pieces in preparation for this episode, just a few key moments in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think pretty soon I'll sit down and watch it in its entirety.
Very cool. Yeah, this is definitely one that is in my rotation every Halloween. So I've got like a set amount of Halloween movies I watch, because obviously I'll watch 1 and 2, I'll watch 3, and then I'll watch 4. I usually skip 5, 6, H2O, and Resurrection because they're kind of my least favorite of the series.
Yeah.
And then now I'll watch 18 because I fucking loved Halloween 18. So
Halloween 2018, so good. I might, depending if you get somebody or not in the next few weeks, I might go ahead and join you for that one.
Okay.
I love that one a lot.
Yeah, I definitely don't have anybody for that one yet. So that one, H2O and Resurrection, I'm still searching for people to be on. But yeah, so yeah, definitely if you're up for 18, I would definitely love to have you for that one for sure. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna like I said in the last few episodes, and with this episode, is we're covering every single Halloween movie. So we're reviewing 1 through Kills ultimately, because I'll be doing for sure an episode on Kills after that's released, because I'm gonna go see that opening day, and then I'm gonna for sure if I don't have anybody else that's seen it at that point, I'll record a review of that myself and have that up for you guys early that Monday morning after it gets released.
Sweet.
But with that being said, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All of them are at CLS Podcast. We do hope you guys enjoyed this show. Before we get out of here, though, what would you rate this out of 5?
Man, this is a solid 4.5 out of 5 for me.
All right. Perfect. For me, this one's a solid 3 out of 5. I definitely enjoy it. It's not as good as obviously the ones with Michael in it and that whole storyline, because that's always just so fascinating. And it's the Halloween movies are besides Nightmare on Elm Street. It's my well, I go back and forth between Nightmare and Halloween being my favorite series overall, with kind of Friday's always right there too. But yeah, so it's very solid, very, very good for especially not being a Michael Myers movie. So definitely 3 out of 5. It's got everything. It's got the atmosphere. It's got the music. It's got the cinematography. It's got the cast. It's got everything working for it. It's the main thing that's against it is the Halloween name and not being centered around Michael Myers. So that's the biggest downfall with it. I don't see it as a downfall because it's kind of just a step away before it comes back strong with Halloween 4, which we'll be talking about next week. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a very good movie. But we would also love to know what you guys think, and you can always reach out to us through our social media and let us know. But with that being said, we hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, and if there's nothing else, we will see you guys next week.
See ya.
This episode of the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast is brought to you by the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. Check us out at www.clspodcast.com or join in the conversation on social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at CLS Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, campers.